Guys, welcome back to Baja Bound. Today we're actually doing a kind of a walk around of our 2017 Ford F-150. And this truck, actually, just to give you guys a little backstory, when the original Raptor came out in 2010, I remember when that truck came out and I was like, I was just absolutely almost starstruck when it came out. And I just knew one day I was like, I have to own a Raptor. So a couple years ago, I'd saved up enough money and bought my dream truck. So this was a really big milestone for me, and I was very, very excited when I bought this. I was like, damn, I can actually buy something that I really wanted to for a long time. So, I worked my butt off for this, but, seeing this truck, it's just cool because, like I said, it was something that I always wanted to have one. It was just, I was like, fuck yeah, I did it. So, but this is our 2017 Ford F-150. Overall, it's not crazy modded. I really love the original body lines that are on these Gen 2 Raptors. I think they're just, the way they're put together, they're really nicely done. And so I didn't want to go with any crazy negative offset. I wanted to keep the truck pretty flush. But I wanted to level it out because I don't really like the rake look it gets from the factory. And I know they do that for get better MPGs and whatnot. So, but besides that, you guys, there's not a whole lot done to this truck. It's pretty stock, but we're gonna go through and I'm gonna kind of talk about everything I've added to this truck, and kind of tell you the things I like, things I don't like as much, and eventually, guys, too, we're gonna be taking this truck out some crazy adventures. And I know the Raptors aren't the best tow vehicles, but we are going to be using this truck as our tow vehicle. So when we have the ZR2 all built up, we're going to use this to tow. When we have the Fiesta go to autocross events, we're going to use this to tow. And I am going to beef up the rear end a little bit more so we don't squat, because these suspensions in the Raptor are very soft. You don't have to put too much weight on the back, and they start sinking. I can actually show you money even if I just step on the back of the truck here. You can see how much this truck squats just when I jump on it. And so you can see when you put weight on it, the truck is just ultra squishy, which is fantastic for off-road but not for towing. So we're gonna upgrade the leaf springs and everything so we don't have any crazy squat when we're towing and have to go long distances. So, but this is gonna be our travel vehicle. And one of the main reasons too is, when we aren't towing the trailer, if we want to go have some fun on the trail, we can go rip around. The other thing, everybody knows, the F-150s, these trucks are crazy comfortable inside. So doing long distance road trips, these are freaking awesome. So we'll kind of walk through everything I've done to the truck so far, guys. So we'll start with the tires and wheels. The tires and wheels I went with are these tires I actually had on a 2014 Ram 1500, and I sold that truck a few years ago, but I absolutely loved the tires. The tires were nice and quiet, but they also handled well in the snow, in the rain. So Mickey Thompson, I really wanted to go back with this tire. It's the Baja ATZ P3, and this is the same size tire from the factory, which I think is a 34.5. It's a 315 70R17. But overall, these Mickey Thompsons are freaking phenomenal. And if you are looking for a tire that's kind of between an all-terrain and a mud-terrain, this is a really good tire. It's in competition with like the Toyo RTs and the Nitto, I think, Ridge Grapplers, I think, are the ones, or the Trail Grapplers. I can't remember which ones are which. But overall, love these tires. Really great off-road and phenomenal on-road as well. Went with the Black Rhino Arsenal 17-inch wheels. I think they're 17 by 10s or 8s. I can't quite remember the width. These Black Rhinos are awesome though. I absolutely love the style, kind of that clean military look. The only complaint I have with these wheels, and it has nothing to do with the aesthetics, I think these are freaking badass, but you can see, they have these pegs, and these pegs are not really attached to the wheel. You can actually see I'm missing one here. They're just kind of placed in there. So if you are doing a lot of heavy off-roading, and if I did something that caused that, let me know in the comments. But I haven't taken this truck on any crazy like heavy rocks. I've done a lot of high-speed trails and just stuff like that. So a lot of aggressive high-speed vibrations just start wiggling these things loose. And you can actually see this one's loose, almost all of these are loose. So that's really the only thing that sucked, but I still love the wheels. I don't have any complaints. You know, they're freaking awesome wheels. They look really cool, and they perform well. So, but that's the tires and wheels. Everything else in the rear end, guys, is full factory. And you guys can actually see, I need to get leaf springs pretty soon, because these leaf springs, you guys can tell they're actually starting to go flat. And you can definitely tell it starts to make the rear end not as compliant. So, but everything back here, like I said, stock. This was the little tonneau cover that came from the factory when I got the truck. I should mention too, this truck was only owned by one other person. It was an older gentleman. He never off-roaded the truck, kept it in his garage. I bought the truck out in California. Originally had 22,000 miles on it, and that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a truck that had been babied, hopefully never off-roaded. And when I found this truck, it was like in pristine condition, and the wheels never had. The truck was completely stock. That was another thing I was looking for, a completely stock used Gen 2, and this one just kind of fell in my lap. And I either wanted black or white. Black landed on me, so this is what I went with. You guys can see we actually have our Conscious Cactus sticker, one of our original stickers in here. Bless you, Monty.
Thank you.
Then we got here up front, this is the only additional lighting I have, are the rigid ditch lights, these blackout series. And the reason I went with the blackout series, Monty, if you can show them the front, it kind of has that tinted appearance to it, so it matches the headlights a little bit more. It's not as reflective where you can just see the metal, and it kind of just overall fits the appearance of the truck really nicely. Just gives that nice dark black look, and I think it looks super smooth with the entire truck. So that's all I have for additional lights there. Monty, if you can show them the other side too. I got it's just an antenna I found off Amazon. It was like 30 bucks. I didn't really want the ones that are the bullets, a little aggressive, but that one, I like those. And so yeah, got the shorter antenna. Those are nice and clean. Same setup up here. Got the Mickey Thompsons with the black rhino wheels. Like I said, love this combination. And then the only thing I've done to the suspension, guys, is for the front, I was debating going with either the perch collars, which takes the original springs and it kind of adjusts them up, squeezes them together, and then it lifts the front of the truck up. Or Eibach made these raising springs, and the reason I wanted to get the Eibach springs is I thought this was a better setup than the perch collar. I don't know. I don't. For some reason in my mind, I just didn't trust the perch collar as much. So I went with the Eibach springs, and for somebody that does drive this truck a lot on road, and I do take it off road, but it does do a lot of on road driving, and these springs are fantastic. Anybody that has the original springs on this truck, they know how squishy it is, kind of how wallowy it is, especially when you brake and go into corners. These Eibach springs are much stiffer, but they still give you that nice bouncy feeling off-road. So when you are doing high-speed stuff, it's very responsive. And so I just like the overall feeling of the truck once you get the Eibachs on. So that's all I've done with suspension, guys. Like I said, just the Eibachs. I've been going back and forth about getting the upper control arms changed out, but there's also the chance too, guys, that we might be trading this in for the Gen 3 this year. I haven't decided yet. Like I said, I really love this truck, and it's just come together so nicely. I'm having a hard time separating from it, and I'll be honest, I like the V6, especially for off-roading. It's lighter, has plenty of power, and honestly, for how much suspension travels on these trucks, it's like the perfect amount of power. Once you start going 6, 7, 8, 900 horsepower, this suspension starts becoming very lackluster, and so if you start going into those ranges, that's where you need to start going 20, 25, 30 inches of wheel travel to really use that power. And so that's why I think that it might not sound as good as a V8, but for the power and for the application, it works really, really well off-road. And when you put it in Baja mode, put it in sand mode, it's very, very compliant. So, but like I said, we're gonna go back and forth. Obviously, when the Gen 3 comes out, we'll go test drive it. We'll do a video about that and kind of show you the pros and cons with the Gen 2s and the Gen 3s. So this is the exterior of the vehicle, guys. I think that's everything. Let me double check. that we've done to the truck on the outside. The only other thing that I've done, and actually, Monty, I don't know if I'll be able to get the hood open, but I do have the Cobb tune. So it's got the 91 tune. So I might be able to get it. And it has the stage 1 package, so it just has the cold air intake. And you guys can see here, got the Cobb cold air intake, and then we have the actual tuner, which I don't have with me right now, but I will say this, guys, that this little stage 1 kit, which is about, I think it was about $1,000 or $1,200 for the whole setup, but this cold air intake, then you get the little Cobb tuner, it completely changes the truck. I mean, these trucks are already badass, but it just really wakes it up. The car has so much more power. This cold air intake gives it a little bit more gruntier noise, and kind of a better note when you get on it on throttle. So I highly recommend, just even any tune. I went with Cobb because I've used Cobb in my Fiesta, and they just make great stuff. But there's a bunch of companies that make tuners for these trucks, and because it's a twin turboed the EcoBoost, they're very tunable, and they're very, very reliable. I haven't had a single issue with this truck. It runs and performs like an absolute beast. And it's just a lot of fun. And I will say this, another reason I went with the Cobb cold air intake is because a lot of the other cold air intakes, and the reason I like keeping a lot of the factory stuff is because they engineered it specifically for this truck, but I like the Cobb because you keep the stock bottom of the box. A lot of these other companies, you remove the entire box, and which is totally fine, just for my preference, and I'm like I said, not super mechanically inclined. This was a very simple application. I just had to pull the top off, put this new Cobb one on, and then you get the cold air intake, you put the tubes on, and then the fittings, and you're done. And it's a really quick setup. I got the 91 octane tune, and it, like I said, just completely changes how this truck delivers power. It's on another level. So that is essentially the extent of the truck, guys. The next thing we might do if we keep the Gen 2 is get the SPD downpipes with turbo adapters, and that can make the truck sound better, give it even more power, and like I said, just kind of completing the overall truck. This is the interior of the cab. It's 100% stock. Like I said, another reason why we picked this truck for the channel is because it's very spacious inside. When we go on 5, 6, 7, 8 hour long road trips, this is very comfortable. We can keep all of our gear in the back. If we're going camping, we can keep all of our stuff back there. We can keep all our camera gear. All that stuff can fit back there. And so, if you needed to as well, I mean, you could look at it. I'm about 5'10". I'm about 5'10". I could take a nice nap. Look at the stars. And speaking of stars, this thing has a giant moonroof. So, you could just chill out. You got plugs here, USB plugs, this cigarette lighter. Well, it's not a lighter, but it's a 12-volt plug. So there's a lot of stuff you can do in here. And what's cool back here too, it's got the little holders. You can see I got beanie and sweatshirt and hat. So there's just a lot of stuff you can store in the back of these trucks, and it makes it great for us because when we go to race events and when we do all this stuff, we're gonna need a lot of back here to put spare tires, put all of our gear, and then like I said, if we want to clear this thing out, we can go in the desert and have some fun. So this is our 2017 Ford F-150 Raptor, guys, and like I said, we're going to be taking this thing out on some awesome off-road adventures very soon, so stay tuned. And also, guys, we just want to say thank you for all the support. Monty and I have an absolute blast making these videos, and we love it when you guys are liking, commenting, subscribing. Any feedback too that you guys have, it's really cool, and it's been a lot of fun. We've only been doing this for 2 months, and Monty and I are just absolutely ecstatic to be doing this and making this content for you guys. So thank you for watching. Like I said, guys, like, comment, subscribe. We also have a StuntManStige Instagram, so check that out. You get more content with all of our vehicles and all the shenanigans we're up to. So thanks again, guys. See you on the next one.